something that I find very troubling as a chaplain of the order and as a canon lawyer also, because this essentially is a Vatican takeover of the Order of Malta. By appointing a delegate, the Pope is now saying that he's in charge of the Order of Malta, and its sovereignty, in effect, disappears, because sovereignty means we decide for ourselves how we structure our government ruling structure and class, and in this case, a Grand Master and the Sovereign Council. A Grand Master is now gone, or will be gone if his resignation is accepted, and the Sovereign Council is told that they're going to have an outsider becoming the ruler of the order. I'm very troubled by that.
Pope Francis has really, in an unprecedented way, forced the resignation of the head of one of the Catholic Church's most ancient institutions, as you mentioned, the Knights of Malta, around since the 11th century, involved in charity work throughout the world. And what's more, and what's at the heart of this story, is they are a sovereign order. That means they're like their own country. They have passports. They have diplomatic relations with other countries, including the Vatican. And they contest the legality of the Pope's intervention in their order. What happened, Becky, was back in December, the Grand Master of the Order, an Englishman named Matthew Festing, fired one of his top officials for allegedly allowing the distribution of condoms in Myanmar through one of their charitable agencies. That official appealed the decision to the Pope. The Pope said he didn't want the official fired and he was going to investigate. But the conservative leadership of the Knights of Malta publicly defied the Pope and said they would not cooperate with the investigation because they are a sovereign order and they questioned the Pope's jurisdiction over them. But the Vatican pressed ahead anyway, and the result is the news we have today, that the Pope asked for and received the resignation of the Grand Master. It's less a story about the distribution of the condoms, Becky, as much as the hardline removal of the official allegedly involved, and obviously of the open defiance on the part of the conservative leadership of the Knights of Malta against their progressive Pope.
And after weeks of very public tensions with the Vatican, the head of the Sovereign Military Order of Malta accepted the Holy Father's request that he submit his resignation. The Vatican said today that Pope Francis accepted the resignation of the order's Grand Master, Fra Matthew Festing. His resignation comes after a commission was set up to investigate the removal of the order's Grand Chancellor. The Order of Malta is the present-day continuation of the medieval Knights Hospitaller, founded in the 10th century to provide medical care for pilgrims to the Holy Land. The Grand Master is elected for life from among the professed knights.
And at the Vatican, Pope Francis asked for and received the resignation of leader of the Knights of Malta, Grand Master Fra Matthew Festing. The Catholic lay order became subject to a papal investigation after it fired one of its leaders. Festing had refused to cooperate with a papal commission investigating the ouster of the former Grand Chancellor over revelations that the Knights' charity had distributed condoms during his watch. The Vatican intervention is extraordinary, as Malta is a sovereign order which runs a vast charity network around the globe. After meeting with the Pope on Tuesday, Festing decided to resign. Complicating the situation, the Vatican announced that they were appointing a papal delegate to the order. Here to shed light on this situation and what it all means is a member of the papal posse and chaplain to the Knights of Malta, Father Jerry Murray. Father, thank you for being with us.
Good to be with you, Raymond.
Father, does the Pope have the right to accept the resignation of the Grand Master of Malta and pressure him to resign?
Well, strictly speaking, the Pope does not have the legal authority to accept the resignation of the Grand Master because he neither appointed nor approved the election of the Grand Master. The Grand Master was elected by the Sovereign Council of the Order of Malta, because Malta, the Order of Malta, is a sovereign entity. So unlike any other religious order, it has its own juridical existence apart from the Holy See's oversight. It's a unique institution in the history of the Church, and the sovereignty has been a question that's been debated over the centuries. But strictly speaking, the Pope, he can ask the Grand Master to resign. Pope can ask any Catholic to do things the Pope thinks he should do. But strictly speaking, the resignation is offered to the Sovereign Council, and the Sovereign Council will then accept it.
Some are suggesting, Father Jerry, that this is really about the cardinal patron of Malta, Cardinal Raymond Burke, who's been in a public debate with the Pope over teaching regarding divorced and remarried Catholics receiving communion. Do you think there's any truth to that? And what does this tell us about the Pope's concern for a charitable order distributing condoms abroad?
Well, Cardinal Burke's role, he does not run the Order of Malta. He is the cardinal patron, which means he's the Pope's representative to the order, to be a point of contact and to help guide them in religious matters. As far as I can see, the problem here has been between what the Grand Master did in firing the number 3 in the order, because he was responsible for a program of aid in the Far East that included immoral activities, the giving condoms and other contraceptive means under the aegis of the Order of Malta's charitable action. And the Grand Master was not happy about that. There was an investigation done. It wasn't a matter of an overnight decision on his part. And once that information was presented to the Grand Master by those who investigated it, he felt that he had to take this step. Now, the Holy See, through Cardinal Parolin, expressed displeasure with this action, and then the Pope established a commission that was going to investigate what happened, and the order said no. We're sovereign. This is a matter of governance. This is a matter of our independent existence as a sovereign entity. We control how we monitor and supervise those who work in our organization. And it's kind of stunning because that committee was formed and their work hasn't been completed, even though the Grand Magistrate, the Grand Master, and the Sovereign Council said they wouldn't cooperate with it. The committee went ahead and started its work. And even before that's done, the Pope asked for his resignation. So it's something that I find very troubling as a chaplain of the order and as a canon lawyer also, because this essentially is a Vatican takeover of the Order of Malta. By appointing a delegate, the Pope is now saying that he's in charge of the Order of Malta, and its sovereignty, in effect, disappears, because sovereignty means we decide for ourselves how we structure our government ruling structure and class, and in this case, a Grand Master and the Sovereign Council. A Grand Master is now gone, or will be gone if his resignation is accepted, and the Sovereign Council is told that they're going to have an outsider becoming the ruler of the order. I'm very troubled by that.
Very good. Father Jerry Murray, we'll see how this story develops in the days ahead. Thank you for being here.